In the beginning, there was Vllaznia, the first football club forged in Albania. Champions, icons, eternal contenders. Since 1930, they've ruled the top flight. Only 3 seasons lost to history. 9 league titles, 8 Albanian cups. Their name echoes throughout Europe, but glory fades. Their last title came in 2001. Now a new figure rises. A local voice, a believer. Fatim Kuchi has taken the reins. Under his leadership, Vllaznia will return to the top of Albanian football. Albania will ascend the ranks of European clubs. His mission is revival, to rebuild, to reignite, to rise. This is Red Rain.
And welcome one and all to a brand new save on the channel. Now it is a concept that we have covered before live on Twitch, but we're doing it with a little bit of a twist. We are building the nation of Albania, and we are doing it in charge of KF Vllaznia, the oldest club in the country. What's going to make it different is the format. We are going to cover each and every season of the save in its own separate episode. We're going to be reviewing how we did in all of the competitions. We'll get to that in just a minute. We're going to be reviewing who's in, who is out, and how Albania as a nation is doing amongst the European clubs in the UEFA coefficients. Now that, my friends, is not going to be easy, because as we start the save, we find Albania all the way down in 48th position out of 54 UEFA member nations. We've got a long climb up this table, but I think that we're up to the task. Part of getting that done is going to be getting KF Vllaznia back to the top of Albanian football. It is a place they have not been since 2001. And while they have had some success since then, the league title has eluded them. And while they may not have won the league, Vllaznia is this year competing in the qualifying rounds of the Europa Conference League. So a very early opportunity to build on that coefficient and start moving Albania up the ranks. Will we be able to do it? Well, we'll find that out shortly. We do have a fairly healthy-sized squad in order to begin this journey. Leading the way as our best player on paper is 23-year-old Albanian striker Ildi Gruda. Now, we did pick up an injury in the preseason, but he's a highly consistent player. Great off the ball with a ton of technique, and his finishing ability is amazing. He is going to miss the beginning of the season, but that's okay. Because while he's out, we're going to allow our star player, 32-year-old striker Bakim Balai, absolutely shine. He is in the prime of his career and excited to get bedded in and get Vllaznia back up top. Another versatile attacking option is 26-year-old Brazilian Bruno Gomez. Natural as a striker, he's going to be starting the season as a left wing. He also has a very strong right foot, so maybe we can flip him over to the other side as well. Flipping to the more defensive side of the game is 28-year-old Croatian Marko Juric, our starting right back. He's got a great crossing ability, decent with his tackling, 6'2" to really defend that back post. Starting on the other side is 26-year-old Albanian Asin Hakai, only 5'9", but what he lacks in size, he makes up for in defensive ability. A tremendous tackler, great anticipation, and his crossing is second to none. It's in goal where we may find we have a little bit of an issue. Our penciled-in starter is Jurgen Mihidri. He's 25 years old. No senior caps for his country, and his one-on-one ability is not the greatest. His communication also not a strong suit. He's starting off the season with an injury, which means that early doors, the nod is going to go to 22-year-old Kristi Kari. Hopefully his decision-making, his handling ability, and his reflexes will make up for the fact that he is a bit deficient in other areas. One of the major deficiencies of the squad coming in is our size on the back line. Our tallest center back is 6 foot even, and that is Milos Stojanovic, a 26-year-old Serbian. Decent heading ability, kind of okay in the air, and a good amount of strength. His marking ability is probably what is going to lead him to success this season. Kicking off the year next to him is going to be Dritmir Beci. Only 5'11", but his tackling ability and heading ability makes up for the fact he may not be able to get as high in the air. He's got some speed on him as well, a high amount of determination, and he knows his position better than anybody else on the squad. Helping those guys out in the back is our defensive midfield, and it's a pretty strong one. First, we have 27-year-old Albanian Ardit Krimi. He is ready to play. A tremendous amount of stamina. His mental abilities are generally pretty good. His positioning and work rate are key, as is his tackling ability, and he's not bad with the passing, although his vision could use just a little bit of work. And as we really get bedded in and try to figure out the squad, paired with him is going to be 28-year-old Kosovan Lorik Bošnjaku. He brings a bit more pace to the position. His first touch is fantastic, and his positioning is great. Work rate isn't really something I want to sneeze at as well. A highly consistent player, although he does not love the big matches, but I'm not anticipating us being in a ton of those this year. And rounding out our starting lineup is 24-year-old Albanian international. He's got one cap for the country, Isat Mala. Decent amount of pace. His acceleration is really good. He can cross and he can dribble for this level. He's got a great passing ability. He needs to work on the vision a little bit. His technique is just okay. So we are hopefully, maybe, going to upgrade this position as we move on. We start the season in a 4-2-4, which we feel will best take advantage of the personnel we have at the club currently. As already mentioned, the 22-year-old Kristi Kari is going to get the start in goal in place of the injured Jurgen Mihidri. Our back four will consist of Esin Hakai, Eslit Sala, Milos Stojanovic, and Marko Juric. In the midfield, Lorik Bošnjaku and Ardit Krimi. On the left wing, playing the inside forward to take advantage of his very strong right foot, is Bruno Gomez. On the right side, we have Isat Mala, and the strike pairing of Bekim Belai and Alfred Adarevich. We're keeping a nice balanced mentality. In possession, we're going to be fairly narrow, but we're going to focus our play down either side with slightly more tempo and a slightly more direct passing style. We are going to pass into space to try to take advantage of space created by the defense. In transition, we're going to counter press and counter while we're distributing out to our flanks. Meanwhile, out of possession, we're going to have a high pressing line while keeping a standard defensive line, and we're going to press just a little bit more often. Now, because we enter the Europa Conference League in the first qualifying round, that means that competition begins before our regular season, and we started it off at home in style, taking on Europa FC of Gibraltar. 3-0 the score, goals by Bruno Gomes, Ardit Krimi, and Alfred Adarevich. Now, Bošnjaku did pick up an injury in the 67th minute of this game, but we absolutely dominated them at home. And the away leg wasn't much different, as we absolutely dismantled Europa FC in Gibraltar. Bekim Belai getting things started just 2 minutes in with a goal. Alfred Adarevich and first half brace. Milos Stojanovic also scored. And we ended that first 45 with a penalty conversion from Bruno Gomes, 5-0 at the half. Adrian Borgia would give them a pair of goals, their only goals of the competition in the second half. Eslit Sala would cap things off at the end with a goal in the 80th minute. At the end of the day, a 9-2 aggregate victory, which would set us up for a very tough second qualifying round matchup against FC20. A pretty cagey match for the home affair. We managed to hold them to 0-0 at our place, but it would be a different story when the series went back to the Netherlands. A hat trick by Michael Vlap was all they really needed. We did get goals from Bruno Gomes late in the first half and Ildi Gruda late in the second, but at the end of the day, a very easy 4-2 victory for the home side. We'll take a look at how the other Albanian clubs did in Europe a little bit later on in the video. But now that we're out of the competition, we can focus on the league. The media has us predicted for a 7th place finish at 50-1. Now, we need to be top 4 in order to get European football for next year. And I have a feeling that the only way we are going to successfully begin to propel Albania up the ranks is by taking control of European competition ourselves. We're hoping for a little bit of a better finish than that. The board only expects us to be mid-table in the league and reach the latter stages of the cup. We'll get to that cup competition a little bit later as well. And a little disclaimer, I will attempt to bring you guys highlights of the actual matches whenever I can. Right now, Football Manager is not cooperating, because I would have absolutely loved to show you guys the 5 spot we put up on KF Tuta to kick off our season. Pair of goals to get things started by Bakim Balai, and then a hat trick, 2 of them coming from the penalty spot for Bruno Gomes. We kept Tuta to just a single shot on goal, and right now, our tactic is cooking, because we followed that up with a second consecutive clean sheet, this time against Kukeshi. They managed 6 shots on goal, just a single one on target. Another brace from Bakim Balai. Sadly, our clean sheet streak came to an end in the next match, but not the fortune of Bakim Balai finding the back of the net. A hat trick in this one, with goals in the second, 25th, and 57th minutes. Ildi Gruda gave us a 2-0 lead just 3 minutes in. Finally, the opposition in Skinderbo able to break through. Gresiel Lika scoring with just 1 minute left on the clock. Sadly, in our next outing, we dropped our first points of the season, drawing Dinamo City by a score of 1-1 on the road, before bouncing back at home in a rivalry matchup against FK Partizani. A pair of goals for Adrejevic, Marko Juric getting into the action, Bakim Balai scoring again, and another successful strike from the penalty spot for Bruno Gomes. 21 shots, 12 of them on target. But our good fortune had to come to an end at some point as we closed out the first month of the season with a 1-0 loss on the road to KF Ignatia. And through the first 6 matches of the season, we found ourselves at the top of the table. 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, a plus 12 goal difference already. 13 points on the board. Bakim Balai, the leading scorer in the league with 8. Bruno Gomes sitting in 3rd with 4. However, that success comes with a cost, because we're going to be without Bruno Balai for the next 5 to 6 weeks, as the striker twisted his ankle during that last match. And he's got big shoes to fill. 9 goals, 3 assists in all competitions since the beginning of the year. Somebody else is going to need to step up. And that would be Bruno Gomes, scoring from the penalty spot to equalize in what was an eventual 2-1 win at home against Locsi. Scoring again, once again from the spot in a 3-2 loss at Tirana. Finding the back of the net as we dropped a 3-1 decision to Orzeni. Before adding 2 as he scored in his 4th consecutive match, a 3-1 victory over Kukesi. Unfortunately, the team itself didn't fare as well, picking up just 3 victories in the final 3 months of the season and a single solitary point in the month of December, which leaves us at the midway point in 6th place on a measly 23 points, just 10 off of the top, but only 1 spot ahead of our initial media prediction and outside of the European places. We need to buckle down, do more, and find a way forward if we're going to salvage this season. So we thought that maybe a change of tactical shape would help propel us towards a very strong second half of the season, and we decided to take advantage of the many attacking talents we had on this squad, and we went with a 3-striker system with a target forward in the middle to drop deeper. So in a way, it's a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond. It just masquerades as a modified 4-3-3. We kept our 4 at the back. Now we've got 3 in the midfield, anchored by Bozniaku, with a pair of guys in front of them. We'll get to that in just a moment. And 3 strikers up top, taking advantage of all of the talent we have in Gruda and Bruno Gomes particularly. We also dipped into the transfer market. We wanted to add a little bit of height to our back line, so we turned to Croatia and brought in 20-year-old Luka Bradaric on loan from Istra 1961. At 6'3", all of a sudden we had a towering presence on the back line. We bolstered our midfield with a hardworking 22-year-old on loan from Dinamo City in Armand Kuci, no relation. And also brought in another Croatian on loan from Dubrava. You may have seen his name when we reviewed the tactic. 21-year-old Branimir Shavar. Decent with his long shots, great off the ball, a heck of a teammate. Very excited to have him join the squad. But we also needed to improve our man at the back, and we found, for free, a 24-year-old Italian in the form of Alberto Savini. Good reflexes, better at one-on-ones and communication than anybody else on the roster. Hopefully, with him as our backstop, we can really settle things down and move towards a very successful second half of the year. Our first match back after the closing of the transfer window was an absolute barn burner. One that we almost gave away. We had a 4-1 lead at the half on the back of a pair of goals from Luka Bradaric and a brace from Bruno Gomes. We allowed Partizani back in this one, but we did hang on for a 4-4 draw. But those would be the last points we would drop for a while, beating Ignacia on the road by a score of 4-1. Branimir Shavar getting in on the action. A 3-1 win against Lazio at home. A brace from Milo Stojanovic leading us to a 2-1 victory on the road at Tirana. A 3-2 road win at Erdzeni. And a 2-1 home victory against Kukezi, beating them for the third time this season to make it 5 in a row. Which led us up to our first youth intake of the save, and by gum, it was an excellent one. A ton of talent coming in through this new class. Led by a 15-year-old winger, Attilio Gelli. He's got a decent amount of pace for his age, needs to work on that strength. Hopefully we can get him a little bulked up and into the squad in the next couple of years. Kreshnik Rejepi is a natural attacking center mid, decent dribbling ability, great first touch for his age, and a tremendous amount of technique for a 15-year-old. Another center attacking mid in the form of 16-year-old Paolo Manella. I hope these guys get a little bit taller, only 5'6", but again, a lot of technique, great teamwork. His vision and flair are off the charts for someone of just 16 years. And we'll probably be talking more about these players in the coming years, but one with a ton of potential, 15-year-old center back, Alessio Scella, needs to get a little bit stronger, but he's already 6'3". I hope he continues to grow. Add a little muscle, add a little bulk, work a bit on his marking and tackling, but his ability to get in the air right now is absolutely fantastic. The only problem is he's unambitious, so hopefully we can train that out of him. Our winning ways continued into the month of March as we knocked off Erdzeni 3-2 on the road, beat Kukesi for the fourth time, this time 2-1, and demolished the team that handed us our first loss of the year in KF Teuta by a score of 4-1 away from home. Sadly, our magic run began and ended with the same squad as we dropped a decision on the road to KF Skenderbau 3-0, but 9 unbeaten has propelled us up the table into third place. Now, Lazio and Tirana have a game in hand on us with 6 to play for us. We find ourselves only 3 points off of the league lead. We still are dominating on the offense with Bekim Balai picking up 20 goals through the first 30 matches of the season. Bruno Gomes chipping in 14 of his own. We also happen to have the league's top assister on our squad, as 9 helpers from Alfred Adarevich are good for a tie for the league lead. We would bounce back quickly as we started off at home for our final 6 matches with a 3-0 victory over Dinamo City, a brace for Alfred Adarevich to add to his 9 assists. We handled Partizani on the road 3-1, got goals from Balai, Mala, Shavar, and Gomes in a 4-1 victory over Ignacia. Embarrassed Lazio in their own building 3-1, stomped all over KF Tirana at home 4-0, before dropping our only points of the month in the final match of the season, 2-2 against Erdzeni, which left us after 36 matches in second place, just 1 point behind Dinamo City. But wait, there's a playoff system in Albania. The top 4 teams on the table in the regular season battle it out in a single-legged semifinal, first versus fourth, second versus third. So KF Teuta scored twice in extra time to knock Dinamo City out of the competition, while our dominance continued in our semifinal matchup against KF Tirana, which we took by a 4-0 score, which ended up matching us up against KF Teuta in the final from Air Albania Stadium in Tirana, and we stomped all over them. A 2-1 score flattered Teuta quite a bit. They only managed 3 shots on goal the entire match, and while predicted to come in 7th, we ended up champions of Albania. Now, we did also participate in the Albanian Cup. We did not do the double this season. We matched up in the second round against the very same KF Teuta. We beat them 1-0 in extra time, but our luck ran out in round 3 as we dropped a 2-1 decision to KF Shkumbini. So as champions, we begin next season in the qualifying rounds of the Champions League. Meanwhile, Dinamo City, Tirana, and Teuta will be representing Albania in the opening rounds of the Europa Conference League. Next year's Categoria Superiore will be without Partizani, Skenderbeu, and Kukesi, all three teams getting relegated this year, while KF Bilis, Flaumutari, and Elbasani will be joining us in the top flight. So before we go, let's just take a quick look at how the other Albanian sides fared in Europe. Representing Albania in the Champions League was Partizani. While they managed a 1-1 draw at home, taking on Astana, ultimately they could not do the job on the road, falling 2-0 in the match, 3-1 on aggregate, which dropped them into the second qualifying round of the Europa Conference League, where they absolutely got hammered by Breidablik. I am fully aware I'm going to get absolutely flamed in the comments for my pronunciations. Ignacio, meanwhile, could not make it out of the first qualifying round of the Conference League, losing to Dinamo Minsk 3-2 on aggregate, while Tirana fared a little bit better, able to make their way through the first round past Progress from Luxembourg before falling 5-2 on aggregate to Dunstreda. Which, thanks to our poor combined showing, means next year we are going to be leapfrogged by the Republic of North Macedonia and fall to 49th. My friends, we have a lot of work ahead of us. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed the change of format and you're all excited to kick off season number 2. We're going to be bringing episodes to you, hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed, twice a week on Mondays and Fridays right here on the Cellophane FM YouTube channel. If you've enjoyed this, please make sure that you hit the like button. I hope that you've done it already. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to do so now. And I look forward to seeing you back here for season 2 as we try to build the nation of Albania. The red rain has begun. It's a little bit of a whimper, but hopefully we're going to be able to turn the volume up on that in season 2. I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, Babar.